We're joining me now, Security and Defence Analyst Edward Stringer. This is interesting, isn't it? It's not safe in a country that is at war. Talk to me about the situation there with regard to these aid workers not being allowed in.
Yeah, well, good afternoon. What do we know? Well, we know the dam was blown on the 6th of June and that caused massive flooding, and Ukraine immediately called for international assistance. And yes, now the UN says it is being denied access to the areas under Russian control, and it is just Russia who is claiming that these areas are unsafe. I judge the Russians are preventing access. They have shown no interest in helping Ukrainians, quite the opposite. But also, interestingly, I sense they don't want outside eyes into that area, not least because there are other very credible reports that they're using the flooding as a defence, and therefore they're moving some of the troops that they positioned there away further to the east to those areas where they are expecting the main thrust of the Ukrainian counter-offensive.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that situation. With regard to the counter-offensive, there have been some reports that it's been paused, which seems, again, quite strange. How can you pause a counter-offensive? What's your take on that?
Well, the first thing to say is it appears that Ukrainians just have not committed the bulk of the forces that they had prepared for the counter-offensive. So, therefore, what we've seen over the last 2 weeks are what we would call reconnaissance in force. Essentially, they've been probing the Russian defences to find the areas where they're strong and the areas that they are weakest. Once they've discovered those areas, we'd expect a pause while they take stock and adjust their plans. And, of course, if the Russians have moved significant forces from the Kakhovka dam, then they'll have to take that into consideration as well. So I don't think we should read too much into this at all. It's quite natural in all offensives, all campaigns, that there are surges and there are pauses as you reconsider, pick your new axis, and then you go again. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, natural pause rather than an enforced one. OK, Edward, thank you. We'll speak later on. Edward Stringer there with the latest on Ukraine.